What's going on, creators? Yeah, I just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, today I like to talk a little bit about, just getting my hip replaced. This is the second hip in a year, so both of my hips are now bionic or robotic or, metal, like Wolverine or whatever. And so, I just wanted to share that experience with others that might be looking at getting the same shit done, might be afraid or don't know what to expect, etc. And so I'm actually really excited that it's happened. And, it's been 3 weeks since having the surgery. I already feel better than I did going into it. Actually better than I felt in, a long time. It's been probably 20 something years of having to endure bullshit hips and pain and all that kind of stuff, which has been, kind of a strength building thing. Not to say it's like I was cursed during that whole time. Learned a lot about just like, enduring and not, not letting pain master me or any type of thing. Also, in that, learning a lot of, just things about myself through that experience, but not to sit there and glorify it like, oh, this is some awesome thing. I'm glad it's over with and glad it's over and done and everything. And the thing I learned, throughout this process, but, each side was different, and so like the first hip, there was a lot of like unknown going into the surgery. I haven't had surgery or even go to the doctor or any of that kind of shit. And so didn't know what to expect. Didn't really necessarily even trust any of the doctors besides the surgeon. Mainly because, I feel like, with my dad, dying in the hospital due to, I believe, incompetence and just this, let's just throw pills at shit and that'll fix the illnesses. Just throw pills at it. Even with this surgery, I did not take more than just the Oxycontin, and I just mainly did that just for thrills, honestly. But as soon as I ran out of that, I had, probably 5 or 6 other pills I could have been taking, which I just disregarded. Still taking an aspirin, a baby aspirin, but other than that, I just don't trust the pharmaceutical companies. I don't trust just taking pills, at all, and so besides just taking the Oxycontin for like the degenerate in me, and that kind of like bled into like even after this surgery, it's like I went into this surgery a lot more nonchalant, it's like having gone through it a year prior, those like anxiety feelings of, what if this happens and what if that happens and oh, what if they paralyze me or what if I die in surgery or whatever, those kinds of fears of the unknown. Not so much of that this time around. It was more, I don't say routine, but it's like, okay, I know from last time it's just going to be boom, wake up and it's done. It's like not going to be this big mountaintop type thing. And so going into the surgery, no big deal. Coming out of the surgery, again, no big deal. But then what happened was then this nurse, she was like checking in on how I was doing. She kept offering me like, I don't even know what the fuck drug it was, but like she's like, hey, are you in pain? Do you want a shot of whatever? It's like, okay, and so she gave me a shot of it, and it was like immediately kind of like the degenerate in me was like, well, let's take this for a thrill ride, and so it's like she comes back again like shortly after, and she's like, how you doing? And it's like, all right, it's like having dealt with like pain for decades, so I could probably have like not taken anything, honestly. It's like, to me, pain is like almost like can start feeling really loud, it gets a lot of your attention. But having endured a lot of it, you can kind of turn a lot of that off through your mindset, your attention, just what you're thinking about, your prayer life, all that kind of stuff. You can kind of just, I don't say completely, it's just like it doesn't hurt or anything. It's just like it just doesn't bother you. It's, even though it might be loud and it's like, yeah, it's uncomfortable and loud, but it's just pain. It's just whatever. But, she comes back, she's like, I can give you more of this. And it's like, okay. So she ends up giving me another shot of this stuff. And, like, I was, like, super fucked up from it. And then, like, she comes over again. And she's like, I can give you one more of these if you want it. I was like, okay. So, ended up getting another. And as soon as she did it, it's almost instantly, I realized that was too much, and I was like super fucking nauseous and just like, oh fuck, and everything just got real choppy and just like glitchy looking and everything. And then they just wheel me up to this room to recover or whatever, regain more consciousness. And I'm like sitting there, and like the previous time, I was able to drink and eat no problem. But I think because of that, like overdoing that fucking whatever that was, made me really sick. And it was like, as soon as I started drinking some water, blah, just start puking everywhere. It's like, what the fuck? And, I was like actually looking forward to like the hospital food too, because I could just get anything, it's just like they had like a big menu, big variety. And it's just like, I wanted to like pig out or whatever, but was not happening. And then I started having issues with blood pressure, like all this kind of shit. And then like, the thing was like getting your hips replaced. They want you to take a piss like shortly after, and the same thing happened previously, where it's just like, just leave me alone. It's just like, don't fucking come in here putting all this pressure on me that if you don't get this many cc's of urine, then we're gonna stick a catheter up your dick. It's like, fuck this situation, and so then there's like all this added pressure. I ended up telling the nurse, I just straight up refused it. It's like, I don't have to fucking go to the bathroom at all. I'm not holding it, it's like I can feel my bladder, it's like I can feel my dick and everything, it's like not that numb. And it just, again, spiraled into an ordeal, which I then told the nurse, it's like, I'd rather you cut my finger off than at this point just sticking something in my dick. And refuse it. And then they come in with a bladder scanning machine just to make sure I wasn't lying to them. It was an ordeal. And so then the next thing, I don't want to talk shit about like being in the hospital or whatever, but it's just like, it almost feels like the exact opposite of what you'd want. And I had the option to have the surgery and just go home. But for some reason, I just thought, it's like, if I'm having a major surgery, it'd be nice just to spend at least the first 8 hours or so, like in a hospital environment in case I had some fucked up thing happen. And so it was like, so that's what I ended up doing. But the thing of it is like, every like 20 minutes, it's like, oh, I'm your new janitor. Do you need anything? It's like, no, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, go. I just want to sleep. It's like, oh, I'm your phlebotomist. I need to come take some blood. Oh, I'm your CNA. I'm just coming to check on you. Oh, I'm your CNA assistant. I'm just coming to see how you're doing. It's like, I'm doing great if I could sleep. It's like the middle of the night. What the fuck are you guys doing? It's like, I don't need all this constant being like wake up to just say how I'm doing, whatever. But then then it's like all these pills and all this shit. It's like, I'm just ready to get the hell out of here. And like this time around, get home, slept the first day for the most part, just because I was kept up all fucking night at the hospital by the staff checking in on me or whatever. But then then I ended up getting like sick for like a week. I thought I was like going to honestly die, or there's a lot of those fears of death coming in, because I just felt so physically sick, which I think was from the pills on some level, or just who knows what the fuck was going on. It just was what it was. And like, it was not until like they gave me a sticker thing for puking, because I couldn't like keep pills down because I kept puking them up. And so like, I had to keep that on for like 3 days, which I did. And then I take it off, and I'm like starting to think I'm getting better. Still having a hard time eating anything. Everything tastes like blah. It just tastes like dirt. I got this Campbell's chunky soup or whatever. I used to like, I don't know if they changed the recipe or what. When I was like younger, that and Ritz crackers was like this shit. I could just pig out on that. So my wife ended up getting like 4 cans of it, so I could just sit there and just try to get some sort of calories. Because I've already, like I weighed in at the surgery at 157, and like after the surgery, it's like I probably lost another couple pounds, and it's like, I didn't want to get like super like scrawny, and it's like, I don't have a lot of fat reserved to just not be eating like this before it's going to start like deteriorating muscles and shit. And so, and they say, Google says or whatever, but like, after surgery, you're probably burning a lot of, logically, I guess that makes sense, where it's like you're burning more calories, is like a major healing thing is going on. Well, who knows? But, it was just like, I just couldn't eat that shit. And it just like, it tasted like gross. And it's just like, everything tasted just like gross, and just was not having it. And that was what was like bothering me about it the most. It's just like, oh shit, I'm like like a dog, like my dog when it stopped eating. It's like, oh shit, maybe who knows what's gonna happen. So there's like a lot of unknown, and my body was kind of wrecked at the same time because like after the surgery, it was like not even crutches. I mean, it's like walker and stuff like that. The hip itself didn't hurt, but just like the muscles just weren't functioning correctly, and it's like weak and painful at the same time. Especially I wasn't taking any pills aside from the Oxycontin, which I wasn't really. My wife wouldn't let me have control of the Oxycontin because she knows that I can start just thrill seeking or whatever, and so that was another thing, and so on top of that, it was just like kind of like, oh, am I gonna die? What the fuck's going on? I better not die because of like having to endure all of this shit without like this resolution not happening. It was pissing me off, and so it was like there was a lot of that going on. Not to like put that out there for people that are just like, oh, that's great. I came here to seek comfort about getting my hip replaced, and now you're on a death spiral. But like I face that kind of fear every time I have it. It's like I don't understand a lot of people that will be like old and like, oh, I'm 100 years old and I never even considered that I might someday die. It's like, what? How could you not think about it every day? It's like I started thinking about that shit like in my 20s. It's like, what the, So, but that's not abnormal for me not to grasp what most people are thinking, and most people are just, in my opinion, just hypnotized half the time, not even present, and so it's hard for me to even gauge what the fuck is normal anymore. But like, to me, normal is like, okay, whenever facing that fear, getting some sort of like resolution to it, not just having it just being this lingering anxiety. And what ended up happening was just through like some like spiritual kind of synchronicities and everything like that, it ended up like getting just like a down a spiral like death death row inmates, and I was watching people and it's like these people know like the exact day and time like to the minute, because it's like government shit so legalistic and like precise, so it's like when they say they're gonna kill you at midnight, it's like, yep, that's what they're gonna do to the fucking second, they're gonna do this, and so sitting there thinking about my own death or whatever during that time where I was like not really doing that great, and like come out of it with this like even more of like a level up experience, because like now just because of like learning like this breathing technique of just like just breathing in goodness of God, just breathing that in and breathing out fear, took leveling up out of like these fear spirals even to the next level, where it's just like it's helped me become more present, but then also incorporate breathing exercise into anxious I remember like spiraling with anxiety or whatever. It's just like start taking in a deep breath and then breathing out the fear, and then realizing that perfect love casts out all fear. And so in knowing that and realizing that, it's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to like, okay, I'm actually like really like freaking out that I'm going to die or something. Actually like not having like this huge overarching just like anxiety on top of everything else, just breathing in like the goodness of God, breathing out the fear was really helpful for me. And for one, like kind of putting it into that chapter, like that first week, and it's like, oh, now that that's resolved, now I feel like I'm on the next level of this thing. And and ever since, it's been a solid solid thing, not, no problem, no drama, able to get around without assistance, getting ready to in probably the next hour or so, just go on like a walk, which is awesome, because it's like after 20 years of not being able to walk like without pain of like any type, it's weird, it feels surreal, it feels like I'm dreaming, even though I feel like a lot of reality is just a dream anyway. But this takes it up next level, where it's like I almost feel like I could start like sprinting, which is like another thing. It's like my whole life, it's like I haven't really been able to run, and so like just like the idea of that is like awesome to me. I'm going to like do it, and like, I used to skateboard too, tempted to to do that, but we'll see what happens. My wife would have a shit fit, but like, we'll see, but like, probably to gauge it for others that, are looking at getting their hip replaced, it's like the left side, that one was so fucked up that after a week after surgery, like it was back to normal, and then my right side was about 2 weeks, where like, things felt like, okay, I'm in better condition now. And a lot of that had to do with just like like my one side had been more dominant, so the muscles were stronger, and so it's like a lot of muscle rebuilding and shit. But like, yeah, super glad that it did it. Would do it again on some level. It's like, I'm excited to see like the progress. It's like watch like just in my own like consciousness or whatever. Feeling a lot more strength, a lot more life too. Didn't realize how like down the drain just dealing with constant just nagging bullshit can really just spiral your state of mind. It can also like, elevate your state of mind too, but once that fucking shit's gone, it's way better. And like, and then who knows how long, my dad had his hips replaced. Supposedly, the family lore is like he has the Guinness World Record for longest joint replacement, which was like ongoing, because he had it when he died, so it was like, but I don't know how to like call Guinness or whatever to make that real, it's like, that's just the lore. And so, I'm sure that maybe my brother would do that or something. I don't know, but I'm not very good at like that kind of details, looking things up, like I'm not good at that. I'm more of like, kind of a flighty artist in that sense, where it's just like, it is what it is. But so to me, it's like that's the yardstick that I'm like gonna try to beat his record. Which why not? And they got nothing else to do. For those that are like new to this, is like, the mental diets. It's just something to keep your mind away from the bullshit of the world. I've been doing some of the forex trading and stuff, which I find is a game like, and it's kind of what I do for fun, on some level. It's like a game. I can't just sit and play a fucking video game. It's just like, I gotta have some, point. It's like just for points. It's like, that's why I like it. Just for the game strategy into things. That's why I like doing it, and I kind of like to, kind of network with people that are into like trading and stuff, just because, again, that's just like another thing I'm like into. Same with like music, it's like network with other musicians and producers and stuff. But there's so much toxic energy in a music producer world and just ego bullshit. Ugh, it's just gross, and like, looking to put out probably some more guitar related just covers, just for the benefit of just the collective consciousness, to try to put out an energy that's not fearful and like full of hell and drama and energy sucking bullshit. Try to put out positive energy. A lot of times, that shit will come back to you magnified. So it's like it's kind of counterintuitive to put out the other type of energy, unless you just want to suffer and create more hell and bullshit and drama for yourself. Some people do unconsciously, but I'm not that kind of person. And so, with that being said, hopefully this was on some level helpful for anybody listening, looking at getting their hips replaced, younger, even. A lot of times they're like, oh, the new hips only last like 15, 20 years, or it's like, yeah, but your stats are fucked up because you mostly do it in elderly people that die in that amount of time. So it's like, I don't necessarily believe or put a lot of faith into these numbers. I think a lot of it has to do with your own consciousness, how much weight you have, how active you are, your lifestyle, all those things I think play a factor into it. But that was part of like why I had to wait though, because my hips started fucking up at a young age. And so it's like, after like 20 something years of waiting to be old enough that, it's not, it could have a surgery and then put it off, so you don't have to keep getting these surgeries or whatever. And that's why I had to endure like what I had to. And so now that I don't have to endure like that, hopefully for others that are still doing now, teenagers even, I was a teenager when this shit, younger than that actually, when this shit started to manifest. And so, for anybody that's younger, that's looking at, it's not hopeless, it's not hopeless to be like, having fucked up joints or whatever. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's things that you can do, spiritually to make, when you're having episodes of pain and whatever, bearable, and let it strengthen you in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways now, it's like, walking around without enduring any pain. It's like, kind of look at people as weak. It's like, this is your normal, and you don't fucking walk, you don't fucking run, you don't exercise. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, how could you not? You have this beautiful fucking gift of fucking mobility without pain, and you're sitting around just fucking like squandering it, and that's how, I kind of feel like that. But, at the same time, I feel like part of life in general is in the highs and the lows, so it's like you can't really truly appreciate the gift of like mobility and walking unless you've fucking been down the other end of the pendulum. And the more that you've been down the other end of the pendulum, the more it swings in the other direction. It's like, like money is another good example. It's like, if you've been fucking broke, slave, poor, going to the fucking food banks and shit, being on food stamps, all that fucking shit, which I've been that fucking level. A lot of it had to do more so with just like rejecting the fucking monetary system, but learning poverty lessons and shit. It's like, it sucks. It sucks to be that fucking poor, and it sucks. It's stressful. It's anybody that like glorifies poverty is a fucking retard as far as I'm concerned. But everybody's different. And people are what they are. But having experienced that, seen that seen what that whole state of consciousness is about. Well, then when you flip to like abundance, for example, if you've been in such scarcity on this side of the pendulum, and you swing over to abundance, it's like you appreciate it more. You're able to, I don't know. It's like, yeah, you can like appreciate it more, and there's something like a gratitude that comes with being on the other side of the pendulum. So it's like, for me, just walking around, it's like I can feel every muscle in my legs, my feet, all that kind of shit, which I couldn't feel before because it was like drowned out, by this loud fucking, I look at pain as just being loud, it's just like, it just gets your attention, and it's like, so it's like, this thing is constantly just, woo, 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 trying to get your attention or whatever. Yeah, now it's gone. It's like you start feeling everything, as you're walking, you feel it in your toes, you can feel it, and that's part of it too, it's like learning how to walk with a gait, whatever, a style of walking, that's just like, that doesn't hurt or whatever, and you're just trying to like, all that stuff is more conscious. It just kind of just makes you more conscious to what you have, more gratitude, having gone through that kind of like spiritual like death experience, it's like leveling up in that way. If like, now when I feel that fear of death, I start just breathing, letting go, and it's gone, and there's not that lingering anxiety. So it feels like a level up experience on top of it. The whole thing is a big level up. And a lot of times with a big level up, you got to face all your fears and bullshit and dramas, because I had that, not to like, again, freak people out or whatever, but like a lot of like the worst case scenarios of like, oh, now my other side is hurting, and now, oh, what I feel some weird sensation in my calf, am I having a blood clot, or oh, my heart kind of feels like fucking jittery, am I having a heart attack, is it a blood clot, is it a fear, it's all, but a lot of times you face all them different fears, and on the other side of it is the state of consciousness that you're just like, that's waiting for you to embody more and more so. And like all those states of consciousness, it's like even like abundance, for example, it's like you have to let go of all these thoughts of scarcity. You can't bring like the old beliefs into the new state of consciousness. You can't bring, old wine into new bottles. You got to let all that shit go. by facing it, by doing the opposite, by growing your faith and all that kind of stuff. It's a tangible fucking practice. It's something I do all the time, and demonstrate it, for my own self, that I know that it is true, and so I continue to do it. And with physical therapy, it's the same thing. It's like you can get I do this little guy. You get those thoughts as you're walking of like, oh, well, what if this breaks? Oh, what if this happens? Fear, fear, fear. And so it's like you just start taking gradual loads that are just higher above where you feel confident. Face the fear a little bit more, face it more and more in a way that's like not overboard. It's like, what overboard is, overdoing it is, what that is. And so it's within you. You know how your body, what it's telling you to do. And if you don't know what that is, you need to start to learn how to listen to your body, because it'll start to tell you what it needs. Sitting is the new smoking, as far as I'm concerned. Get up, get moving. Take action. And that's part of the manifestation process. Is like ask, believe, embody, and then take action, receive. You start to receive it, ask, believe, receive, and part of like the belief is in taking the new action. If you're not taking any action, and ultimately, it's like with your body healing, it's infinite intelligence that's doing all the healing for you. And a lot of the letting go is just in realizing that it's being done to you. It's part of this this healing energy or whatever. And the same thing with your finances and life in general. It's like you can do what you can do, but until you completely let go of the thoughts that are holding you into a state of mind or state of consciousness, you got to let go of those beliefs and those thoughts. Change, the way you're thinking. Best way to do is start taking new action and start to renew your mind in the face of whatever you're doing. So it's like you remove your attention from the problem, you start to renew it in what you're telling yourself, that inner conversation. Those inner conversations that most people have unconsciously, which means they don't realize that they are doing it. Oh, I'm such a fucking loser. Oh, life sucks. Oh, I'm a victim. Oh, blah, blah, blah. All these fucking things that people just aimlessly just have just running in the background of their mind, which is then, impressing the subconscious mind, which then doesn't know the difference and will externalize it in your perception and your body and all sorts of things. It's all about an identity. And so it's like you just put on your new identity and you start to just believe it. That's the thing. But you have to repeatedly go about. It's like stretching. It's like at first you couldn't touch your toes, and then you go just a little bit more than you feel comfortable. You touch your knee or something, then your shin, then your ankle, then then the bottom of your foot or whatever. It's like you just gradually start to do it, and you just start to change your thinking and mentality through the doing. And so hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that's on some level healing, I guess, for somebody who might be listening that has no idea what the fuck I'm even talking about. And it's like, Mike, what the, it's like, what, but that's a whole nother thing. This thing with like the mental diets. I'm like into consciousness and metaphysics and state of mind shit, because it gets to a point in life where it's just like you realize that things don't really do shit. It's like the shit you're moving around, and like I'd learned that through my handyman business. It's like leveling up, doing these bigger jobs. And it's like the stuff that you're stewarding and everything, it's very little to do with your state of being in the present moment. And I mean, there's some satisfaction, like flipping a house. I flipped 3 or 4 houses this last year. There's satisfaction of like, oh, I've been here for like, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months. Now it's done. It's sold for cash. I mean, there's satisfaction in that, but it's not an identity thing. It's like I don't look at myself as like, oh, I'm a this, I'm a that. It's like all those are just things that you're doing. It's just like the state of mind shit, how you're spending the present moment. To me, is the most important thing. Are you spending in it just like telling yourself what a piece of shit you are and why you should be afraid of everything? or do you realize that God's with you and that God is love and like everything's happening in like a perfect harmony, through this like a mirror, this like a mirror perception and inner world thinking, and it's all balanced, and hopefully, oh Mike, no, how dare you, everything's random and chaos and blah 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 blah, some people, well, you could tell them anything, and they'll just be triggered. You'd be like, oh, fire's hot. It's like, oh, fucking dare you, you bigot. But with that being said, I think I'm a balance. I appreciate everybody liking, sharing, subscribing, all the social networking things. I appreciate your time, your energy, your attention for so long. Hopefully I was a good steward of that. Thanks, for people that like to support me, support the channel. Try to put it to good use. Try not to just gamble it away on Forex. But, in a lot of those, I was, recording. I have like a position open at the moment. The pound dollar is normally what I kind of fuck with. It's changed directions here past like, I don't know, a week or two. Oh, that's another thing, is don't trade Bitcoin and fucking Forex after anesthesia. It's like you might feel like your mind's working correctly, but a lot of fucking errors, in that. So if I could enlighten anybody, it might seem like a wise idea to bring your phone into the hospital and you can trade Bitcoin 24/7, basically, and it's like it might seem like a good idea to catch that short, but sometimes it's not a good idea, and so yeah, and so yeah, maybe do some more of those, but it becomes so. The way I'm trading at the moment, it's not very exciting. It's not very thrilling. It's more just like putting like a moderate position size in with a decent amount of like wiggle room. I'm just letting it run through New York session right now. It's like letting it run. It's not very exciting to watch, but like yeah. With that being said, if you do like trade stocks and Forex and all that stuff, I try to maybe do some of them Sunday sessions, strategy sessions, just on thoughts about the pound and some of the directions and biases and all that kind of fun stuff. But until then, thanks for listening and liking, sharing, subscribing, all that, and God bless.